This is the 5th video in our series of naming compounds, where we're taking a look at these particular compounds and deciding which rules to use. And in this video, we are going to name this compound right here. Again, we're going to start with the first element, and we are going to find that on our periodic table. So we go to our periodic table, and we are looking for Cu. Cu is right here, atomic number 29 in group 11. It is one of our transition elements. It is on the left of our stair step, so we know that it is a metal. All right. So immediately I'm thinking ionic compound. But let's go back to our rules for ionic compounds. We know that if it is a metal from group 1 or group 2, they form very definite cations. We also know that silver, aluminum, zinc, and cadmium also only form one particular cation. Copper is not in this group. So it is one of those metals that can form a number of different cations. So we need to use the stock system. Stock system is used when the metal that forms a cation can form more than one type of cation, meaning that it can be a +1, it can be a +2, depending on the element that you are taking a look at. Typically, these are our transition elements, with the exception of those that I mentioned before. All right, so let's go back to our compound. How do we figure out what the charge is on copper sulfate? Well, the way we do that is we're going to take a look at what it is bonded to. In this instance, it is not bonded to a monatomic anion, it is bonded to a polyatomic. So let's take a look at our polyatomic ions and find it. Well, we've got something similar to it. Right here, we've got SO4 -2. But what we were taking a look at was SO3. It had one less oxygen. Well, if it one less oxygen, it is not going to be sulfate. Notice that all of these in this list end in ATE. If it has one less oxygen, it is called a sulfite. It's going to end in ITE. Notice nitrate is NO3, nitrite is NO2. So sulfite is our polyatomic ion. It is SO3, and it has a charge of -2. So let's go back to our compound and see how they are bonded together. We know we've got sulfite. We know that the charge for this polyatomic is -2. And we are trying to determine the charge on copper. Well, from the compound that we were given, we know, let's draw circles around this so that we can visualize them as ions. We've got one copper ion, and it is attached to, let's change the color here, to one sulfide ion. When ions are attracted to one another and form a bond, their charges zero out. So if their charges zero out, it has to be a 1-to-1 ratio. So if sulfite is -2, copper must be +2. And how are we going to use this information when we name the compound? Well, we are going to use the name of the metal. In this instance, it is copper. We are going to follow that name with the charge that metal has when it forms a cation in parentheses. And then since we have a polyatomic, we are going to simply put the name of the polyatomic following the name of the metal with the charge. So for our compound here, it would be copper 2. That 2 corresponds to this charge. Sulfite.